All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Tracy? Radcliffe?
Here.
Smith?
Here.
Stricker?
Yes.
Koziel?
Here.
Sagar?
Here.
Leone?
Here. All right. Before we move into minutes, can I get a motion to accept? Is it people online?
Just Mark.
Oh, just Mark? Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Mark can join us online.
All right. Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
All right, Mark, you're included in the meeting now. All right, next up, minutes. Everyone get a chance to review the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes for the July 26, 2024 meeting.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays? All right, I'm gonna slow down to make sure Mark has a chance. All right, any public comments? Anybody sign in?
Nope.
All right,
Nobody signed in?
go ahead and move on to new business. Under new business, Mark, you wanna go ahead?
Hi, Jessica. How you doing? Can we pause for an introduction? This is Jessica Erickson. She is the Economic Development Director at the City of Woodstock. So she'll be managing Enterprise Zone, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong here, the mayor did appoint you to the Enterprise Zone.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if there's anything we have to do.
Well, welcome to the group.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
just a quick round of
disrupt.
introductions on our part.
That'd be great.
James, you wanna start?
Yeah, James Sitko, Project Manager, MCEDC.
And I'm Mark Pickles. We've met, Executive Director, MCEDC.
Brian Sager, your colleague in Woodstock.
Yeah.
Former mayor and county board member.
Yes.
John Koziel, current mayor of Marengo.
Nick Radcliffe, City Administrator, Marengo.
Larry Smith, county board member from District 8, which is sort of the northwest corner.
Okay.
I'm Donovan Day, Community and Economic Development Director for the City of Harvard.
Okay.
And Lou Leone, City Administrator for Harvard and Chairperson of the EZ.
Great. Thank you.
The others?
Oh, yep.
Lucy Schuler, Director of Public Affairs, McHenry County.
Dan from IT.
Nice to meet you.
And the most important person,
And the most
person
important.
here who's keeping the whole thing on the rails.
Yeah.
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 Hello.
And we have Peter Austin up there.
Dan is letting me participate, and I'm Peter Austin, the County Administrator.
Hello.
And Mark is online.
And then, yeah, we got Mark Stricker with, from the Harvard area.
Okay, great.
Thanks for taking care of that.
All right, so back under new business, we have several resolutions to go through. First one up, resolution to move October resolutions to the September special meeting of the McHenry County Enterprise Zone Board.
So the explanation.
What's that?
In the motion
Well,
to discuss.
oh yeah, motion to discuss.
I'll make a motion. Move forward.
I'll second.
All right.
So this is, since this is a special meeting and it wasn't on the calendar before, these resolutions were scheduled for next month, but we're asking to pull them forward to expedite the decision-making process.
All right. Any questions, discussion? Okay.
Just go to vote.
What's that?
Can I just go to vote?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? There we go. First one down. All right, resolution to add alternate representatives to the McHenry County Enterprise Zone Board. Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. I'm gonna go through it.
Sure, so this is an effort to have each municipality designate an alternate representative in the case that one of the two primary representatives is busy during one of the enterprise zone meetings. They can send their alternate, and the alternate will have full voting rights when serving in a place that has a primary. This is, once again, an effort to consistently meet quorum. It was discussed at the last meeting about adding permanent seats, expanding the board, and we deduced that with the schedule. So if all of the board members, it would be beneficial if we just chose alternates instead.
Good idea.
Hey, Peter,
We've had,
can I talk to Peter for a second?
sure.
Peter, I know I talked to you once about having an alternate for the county, and there was a reason we weren't worried about that. I just was wondering if you could remind me.
Remember that specifically, Larry, I remember a conversation with you when we were talking about adding additional members to this body. I mean, we were concerned about hitting quorum, and we thought maybe if each municipality added a member, that would make it easier to have quorum. And then I think there was a concern that would further diminish the county's voice on this body. But I don't remember a particular question about an alternate, because I think that would be quite easy.
Yeah, okay, I think you're correct, and thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Resolution passes. All right, resolution to approve upgrades to the McHenry County Enterprise Zone website.
So move.
I'll second.
All right, Mark?
So this is an initiative to increase the user experience and accessibility for easier administrative updates as well. Currently, the website is on a pretty antiquated platform. We would transition it with the assistance of our contractor. We would transition it to a newer platform similar to what the MCEDC website is on. Optimization for mobile is important here, and it's going to allow it to be easier to reallocate a question, or not to reallocate, but to redesign it sort of on the fly. Right now it takes quite a bit of work. And the question was brought up at the last meeting of web traffic, and I've brought some data to support that. Through July 31st of 2024, the website had just under 9,000 unique visitors, 8,979. The number of visits was 13,662, and the pages, so meaning how much they cycled through the pages that they hit, was 27,000. I think that that's a pretty positive, positive web traffic, and I think that we could increase that if we made a few key changes to the structure of the website.
Is there cost involved?
Yes, the cost is going to be between $750 to $1,125.
So there's a not to exceed on it, Brian.
Not to exceed
1,125. Is that going to be put into this year's budget then? When you
It is in
this
this year's
passes?
budget, yes.
Do you guys have a timeline when that would be completed?
I would anticipate we could get improvements started by the October meeting, and continue, we'll have to do some back and forth, so continuous improvement throughout the end of the year, but I would anticipate a month or so.
Yeah, roughly.
You agree? Yeah.
So roughly by November? Any other questions, comments? All right.
Roll call.
Yeah, it has to be, you're right. See, I remember that one. All right, roll call?
Smith,
Yes.
Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Koziol,
Yes.
Sager,
Yes.
Stricker,
Yes.
Leoni?
Yes. All right, now the next one up, resolution to appoint and vote on a new vice chair of the McHenry County Enterprise Zone. Do I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second?
Sure.
To get a new vice chair or to name the new vice chair right now?
To discuss it.
Just to discuss it.
Oh, okay.
So, do I have a second? All right, Brian seconds. All right, as you all know, or Jessica's now aware of, Garrett is no longer with us. He decided to go out into the Colorado Rocky area. That leaves a hole. We don't have a vice chair. We've kind of operated about 2 meetings now without one. So I open the floor up to nominations for a new vice chair.
Looking at you, Brian.
No. I'll nominate Larry.
I would do it, I guess. I don't know if that's, if it should come from the county or another municipality, would be the only question. Because the municipalities have more buy-in in this group than the county.
That's fine too.
Pardon?
That's fine too, if you prefer.
I don't have to be the only nomination. There might be another idea here.
I'd be open to the vice chair if our new member from Woodstock would want to take on the secretary role, and then we'll keep it as municipalities as a 3. That's an option.
I'm more inclined to go that route myself.
Fine with me.
It's fine with me.
Works for me.
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you're okay first.
So, just so we're clear for the record, Larry, you're turning down the nomination from Brian?
Yeah.
I'll
It was never seconded.
I'll withdraw. Let's just make it.
Okay.
Johnny, just strike that from the record.
I'm trying to think the way Brian does this stuff.
Well, it was never seconded, so we're all right.
All right.
And Nick is nominating himself,
I turned this off.
and I will second that nomination.
Okay.
Do we have to change anything with the resolution? Do we have to do a resolution at the next meeting?
For the secretary, yes.
Okay, 10-4.
Okay. James, you're aware of that? All right. So I've got a nomination and a second. Do I hear all in favor of Nick becoming the vice chair?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
All right. Congratulations, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that, as Nick pointed out, that leaves the secretary position open until the next meeting. All right, next up, resolution to adopt a contract for administrative services between the McHenry County Economic Development Corporation and the McHenry County Enterprise Zone.
Make motion.
I have a motion.
I'll second.
I have a second. I'll give it to Nick on this one. All right, discussion.
So you have the proposed contract administrative services agreement between the McHenry County Enterprise Zone and the MCEDC. It has clearly defined scope of services, and it will encompass the work that we've done from May 1st through the end of the fiscal year for the Enterprise Zone. It clearly outlines what the term ought to be. It clearly outlines the compensation that was agreed on initially, termination confidentiality, and the independent contractor agreement would be signed by the chairperson of the Enterprise Zone, which is currently Lou from the City of Harvard, and the executive director of the Economic Development Corporation, which is currently myself. Happy to answer any questions on the specifics of the scope of services. However, we reviewed, in order to construct the scope of services, we reviewed what was laid out in the intergovernmental agreement and added some things that appear in the Illinois Enterprise Zone Administrator's Handbook as well.
So just a little background information, particularly for Jessica. We used to have a person working in this, we've decided we wanted to try to go out to bid. It kind of went out a few times, came back. MCEDC was the best bid that came back. We did agree by resolution to go that route, but we never actually closed a contract. So we're just closing the loop on that. And then we've had some turnover over at MCEDC and then within our own group. So we're finally to a point of getting a contract and again, closing the loop.
Perfect.
Yes.
What attorneys have looked at this? Don't we talked about that at one time, but
We didn't submit this for legal review.
from either side.
Correct.
Okay.
I hate to use terminology, standard document, but it appears to me that everything is pretty straightforward here and
Our intent was to be boilerplate, yeah.
I feel comfortable with
Although not an attorney, I've looked at it myself and I felt pretty comfortable with it as well.
Okay, and I've looked it over with, I don't know that there's any problems, I just, you know, everybody has a lawyer these days. It's, I would have thought that a lawyer would have, you know, looked it over and chimed in on it a little bit. But, I'm good.
Okay. So with that, and because it is dollar amount, can I get a roll call vote?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
In the resolution, there are 2 blank lines. The contract
Oh,
shall
yeah.
be effective
Yeah.
from blank to blank.
Yeah, it would be recommendation to make that from today's date through April 30th, 2025.
So it coincides with the budget year.
Yeah, it'll coincide with the remainder of the budget year.
Thank you.
Can I have one more question before? I have the administrative services agreement here that outlines what's going to be done, and I have the contract. Is there anywhere in the contract that it refers to the administrative services agreement? And I apologize for not having that written. Read that before. I worked right here this morning.
Are you asking if there's 2 separate documents between the agreement and the contract?
Okay, there is 2 separate documents.
No, the administrative services agreement is the one and only document.
Okay, so that's not the resolution.
The resolution is here.
Okay. So we got the resolution authorizing the $60,000 to have, for you to do these.
The tasks outlined in the scope of services
The
section.
scope of services. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because the resolution approves the contract for administrative services as.
So the contract in this case, what you're reading is supplemental material to the resolution.
And the contract that I would have would refer to this supplemental agreement somewhere.
Are you referring to the intergovernmental agreement?
The administrative services agreement for the McHenry County Enterprise Zone, what you're gonna do?
Yeah, that's in the scope of services section here.
Okay. But that's not,
That is the contract.
okay.
I think what
Yeah,
point
yeah.
is.
No, Jessica's right. I'm sorry. I'm good. Yep, Jessica cleared it up in one sentence for me.
Who do we use for attorney if we were to take these to a attorney perusal of it?
Zukowski, Rogers, Flood, and McArdle has represented both the enterprise zone and the city of Woodstock simultaneously. Typically, in the past, they've billed the city of Woodstock for services. I'm not sure if there is ever a bill that was directly, if there were ever hours billed directly to the enterprise zone, but Zukowski, Rogers, Flood, and McArdle is familiar with the former agreement.
Like I said, I'm okay the way it's written. I would just like to see future that these things do get passed off to for attorney approval. I think when we're entering into a contract for $61,000, I think we should make sure we cover all our bases, but that's just for future.
Duly noted. All right, with that, can I get a roll call vote?
Smith,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Sauber,
Yes.
Cosio,
Yes.
Stricker,
Yes.
Leone,
Yes. All right, that brings us up to resolution adopting the fiscal year 2025 budget for the McHenry County Enterprise Zone.
Need a motion?
Yeah.
Motion.
I have a motion,
Second?
I have a second.
So similar to the contract, this is a May 1st through 2024 through April 30th, 2025 fiscal year budget that we've prepared for the enterprise zone in reviewing the documents made available to us through MCEDC, which was the former accountant for the enterprise zone. It's our recommendation as the administrator that, well, the enterprise zone board has agreed that they wouldn't be using the accountant anymore, and this would be, the financial management would be the responsibility of the administrator to manage this in-house, simply from a cost savings perspective. So using the information, the historical information provided to us by MCEDC, this is what we've established as a budget for the remainder of the year. It's a second or third iteration of the budget, but I think that at this point the income is reasonably projected and the expenses are reasonable as well.
So just to clarify, you said this is the budget for the remainder of the year, or
Well, no, this is the
amended
budget from May
for the full
1st
year?
through April
Okay.
30th, 2025.
And then just one question from me for familiar, how are the amounts of partner contributions determined?
They're determined in the IGA.
Okay.
Any further discussions?
Madam Clerk, do you have dates? This one also has blank lines for dates.
Once again, it would be the recommendation administrator to adopt it as of today through April 30th, 2025.
And we'll be proceeding with the intention that we'll actually have a budget prior to May 1st. Okay. All right, can I get a roll call vote?
Cosio,
Yes.
Sauber,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Stricker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Leone.
Yes. Thank you. All right, next up is the liability insurance update. MCEDC's insurance will cover its actions as administrator of the zone at no additional cost. Municipal insurance should cover their own members' actions.
Pretty much says it all.
It says it all.
So I need a motion, or is that?
It's not a resolution.
Oh, you're right, thank you. Okay. So that gets us over to financial reporting.
Sure.
James, or, sorry, Mark?
The period ending 7/31, the balance was $8,230.90. Expenses for the period between was $530.63. Check to MCEDC to finalize the outstanding bills that were actually due from the prior calendar year. We've had some income from projects. $2,000 was received from Greenway Storage, which we'll discuss in the project update coming, and then $275 from the Woodstock car lofts, so that makes a balance of $9,975.27. Pending project income, there's a significant check in transit from the DeLong Car Wash project, which is $9,235. The partner contributions for Enterprise Zone Board fiscal year 2020, this one, have been sent out to the individual municipalities. I wanted to discuss the outstanding receivables. We touched on the outstanding receivables last meeting. As was discussed, Gerber Collision Group has an outstanding balance of $2,000. Harvard Community Credit Union had an outstanding balance of $5,000. Liberator Auto Works, which is a Woodstock project, had a $450 outstanding balance, and Matrix 4 had a $1,500 outstanding balance. We discussed with the city of Harvard, the Harvard Community Credit Union, and it was determined that no work had ever been done on that project. So therefore, the invoice that was issued for HVCU really was irrelevant. I believe that they intend to do work at some time. The city of Harvard can provide more information. However, I think that it's, at this point, we won't be collecting that. We did develop collection letters for Gerber Collision Group and Liberator Auto Works. It appears that Liberator Auto Works is no longer active. Gerber Collision Group is, and the work was done. The contact that we had from that on the Enterprise Zone application is no longer with the group. Matrix 4 is another group that I don't think that we'll see that from either. So I just wanted to give an update on the accounts receivable aging. Any questions?
Why don't you think that you'll see anything with Matrix 4?
Just based on attempts at communication and not having any response.
So has the city of Woodstock taken any effort themselves independently?
I don't know. We haven't asked.
There's the person that asked.
Well, yeah.
I'm not gonna put her on the spot.
On the spot, you're right. I just think that in some of these instances, as an entity, we need to make every effort that we can to collect from those enterprises that we are supporting, but at the same time, if not, then we need to go back and ask the municipalities to provide a degree of effort. I won't say pressure, I'll just say effort at this time.
Noted.
So I think Matrix needs to have that done. What was the other one?
Gerber Collision Group.
Gerber Collision, right? Because that would be in a total of what? How much money?
$3,500.
Yeah, 30.
Which would be beneficial.
That's just my suggestion.
Yeah, Gerber Collision, they're a viable company yet, right?
They are, we just don't have.
Whoever signed the contract for them should have been an officer of that company.
I don't believe that he was an officer of the company. It was because they're a franchise.
Okay.
So I think it was whoever handles the construction and build outs who appears to be no longer with the organization.
What is the process?
Yeah.
If not to collect it, I mean, they've already got their credits from the state or not, or?
In terms of Gerber?
Yeah.
James, do you know that?
If they would have existing sales tax exemption certificates, I mean, that would be grounds for, pursuing those funds because they've already started receiving the benefits for them. And you're not supposed to, start receiving any of those benefits until you've paid to open the project in the first place, so.
So you don't think they've received any benefits?
At this point, I couldn't say for certain, but their project is still listed as active on the Department of Revenue website where we upload all the projects for the state of Illinois. So I would make the assumption, an educated assumption, that yes, they've likely started, but yes, still have not.
And we don't get in the database that the state of Illinois provides for us, we don't see like, oh, they got this benefit on sales tax, they say $3,000 or whatever it might be. That the only way that we can confirm that is through the project closing form.
And they haven't filled out any type of project?
No, we haven't received one.
And I realize that some of this is probably in the transition, but I guess I sort of go along with Brian if there's any way we can
Absolutely.
get the funds from them.
And that brings up another good point, is that would the board want to engage a collection agency if our efforts, say 3 letters and as many phone calls and engagements of the municipal partners as we can do, would the next step want to be engaging a collection agency, which there would be a cost associated with that if the funds were collected.
You'd have to confirm whether they had got their credits yet or not before that would.
Right.
Well, I do think that municipalities obviously have attorneys, and I would think that the municipalities could make a decision to engage the attorneys to try to seek remuneration here. And if that is not forthcoming then after a normal process through the municipality, then I think it might be a good idea for us to go ahead and talk about it. But let's try to work with our partnership here first and see where we are, I guess. I would mind.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they wouldn't get that benefit until the closeout, correct?
For the tax abatement,
Yeah.
but the BMEC, the building material exemption, they would be able to receive that benefit.
Because one of the things or my suggestion would be is at least on the closeout, withhold it until the payment has been made. Again, that's, in this case, Jessica, sorry, we're throwing it at you, but I agree with Brian. Let's try to stay within first before we start racking up a bill.
Would we prefer to have some sort of situation where you just keep it in front of us to where we do not provide them with their BMEC forms until they have submitted payment?
I would go that route myself.
And that's a sort of another conversation that's relevant to this, but all the stage at which we are collecting the payment for them, we want to make sure that the project is ongoing to avoid situations like Harvard Community Credit Union, because we don't need to be sending invoices when projects aren't undergoing. A significant portion of that relies on good communication between the administrator and the city. Donovan and I spoke about it this morning. So what we're intending to do to try to clean that up is try to create some form on our side that's only shared with the city staff and the administrator, some type of checklist that says, okay, this project is good to go, and that will also be the trigger so that the city knows that in all your cases, you can reduce the permitting fees. Because right now, the administrator, as the administrator, we collect the permit number in advance of providing the business material exemption. And so that creates a chicken and the egg type situation where they're like, well, how are we going to reduce the fees if we don't know that you're approved through the administrator? Well, how's the administrator going to know that your project's legit if you don't have the permit number, right? So I think that the answer is that we have some kind of form that when the city personnel engage an enterprise zone project, they can say, okay, here's our side. And that gives the administrator ability to go forth, and then we say, okay, here's our side, they're good to go, you can reduce the permit fees, we're issuing the BMEC as of whatever date, and it'll allow enhanced project tracking, I think.
Can I say something? Yep. On our end, like let's say with DeLong, like I was explaining to you this morning, we're piecemealing their permits to can go on with the site permit, site work only permit, and foundation permit while we're waiting on engineering and stuff. The next step is that final permit, waiving thousands of dollars of permit fees. So if they haven't paid you guys, I think that's the carrot that we can hang out. Hey, you haven't paid the enterprise zone yet, so we're not ready to issue this permit.
Yeah.
So that's, again, we're not going to give you that exemption letter until we get paid, and we're not going to issue or reduce our permit fees until the EZ gets paid, and we know that.
Right, and we'll rely on you guys to have, have knowledge if the project is gonna move forward or not. So I think that would work perfectly.
I think that's a point, though. The municipalities are the ones that really have the leverage in this instance, and so we need to take advantage of that leverage to the best of our capacity. Because when it really comes down to it, we have, this agency or entity has very little leverage, really.
Would the municipalities have the right to withhold that permit or anything that goes along with it? Because the agreement isn't with the municipalities, it's with the enterprise zone and that applicant. So I think it sort of steps out to the side of the contract or agreement. But not that it's not worth a try. I mean,
But the enterprise zone is composed of the municipalities, so we're member. The municipalities are the member units, right?
Yeah. I just, from the point of view that they're not part of the agreement, though.
Yeah, I see what, exactly.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea to try.
Some nuance, yeah. I agree.
And separately, we waive our permit fees for them.
Right, yeah.
So that's the teeth that we have.
Yeah, so they can pay the full permit,
Right.
or they can pay their fee and get their, so it's not, we're not withholding.
Once again, in one sentence, you
We're
got me
not-
cleared up.
We're not withholding the permit, we're
Okay.
just, it's gonna cost you more.
That approach sounds correct, yeah.
And they wouldn't waive it until after confirmation that payment's been made.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we'll work with each individual municipality to set up a standardized communication between the administrator and the municipality so that we can effectively say, green light, red light.
Yeah,
Good.
Okay. Everyone satisfied?
yeah.
Want to move on to the next topic?
Oh, I already covered that. Municipal invoices were sent out. Should be in your finance manager's inbox. Questions on that?
All right. Next up, partner reports. Who wants to dive in first? Jessica.
The city of Woodstock has a new economic development director.
I wonder who that is.
Yeah, so we've had one meeting with Mark already for a project looking at a new industrial condo building in Woodstock. Other than that, I don't know what you would typically expect from a report.
On behalf of the EZ, I just want to say congratulations on coming here and being part of this committee. This is very helpful for developing our end of McHenry County. Well, and you came from Colorado?
I did.
What part?
I was most recently Longmont, which is just outside of Boulder. You're familiar?
I live there.
You live there?
Boulder,
I live there.
Broomfield.
Oh, wow. Oh, very cool. So I started my economic development career in Broomfield. So first
With,
8 years in
Charles
Broomfield.
Ozaki?
Yes, Charles. Yeah, he was deputy when I was there, George DeCero.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I worked under, I ran a public-private nonprofit, EDO in Broomfield, but George DeCero was city manager for my entire tenure there. So, and then, yes, Charles. Kevin, yeah, still stay in contact with.
Coming back here, you probably feel with all that additional oxygen, you could live.
Yes, the oxygen. I haven't tried having a beer yet either. I've heard that's easier here too. Yeah.
I mean,
but I'm originally from, I'm originally from the Twin Cities, so I'm a Midwesterner, but then spent the last 22 years in Colorado. So this is me getting back closer to home. But yeah, and I do have, though different, very different in some cases. The last organization I ran, we did the work to establish the enterprise zone there and also ultimately became the administrator of the enterprise zone that encompassed or comprised 2 municipalities in Boulder County. So little bit of familiarity.
So we've had a couple of changes within our group. I mean, first Jessica, and then I was gonna go to Nick. Congratulations on being the city administrator now.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
No longer the assistant or the interim.
Now it's official,
There we go.
some more pressure.
King of the pile now.
We'll keep an eye on them.
A hammer over his head.
Yeah, right.
So anything going on in Marengo?
In relation to the enterprise zone, not really. We still have a lot of houses being built, so there's been a huge focus on residential. Brown Bear Daycare, they should be complete their construction in the spring, so looking forward to that opening up. Other than that, just a lot of small projects throughout town.
I think enterprise zone related, people who haven't heard, we got that 26.9 million grant to get our utilities down to the tollway there. That got awarded to us in 2019. The original estimate to get the utilities down there was $10 million. Now they're estimating $16 million, and we're just running out of money. So that's where the majority of our enterprise zone is at down there. So that's kind of where we've been a little kind of hanging back. We're still looking at grants to try and make up that difference. Still pretty optimistic we're going to get as far down as we can at least. We've actually talked to a handful of real unofficial talk that basically one, I think we're going to just a check for $1 million to finish it off. And unfortunately, I'm like, well, I need a little bit more than $1 million right now. But at least that was positive. So we're hoping to get as far, especially if we get this other grant to get us even closer, that we'll be able to use some incentives through the businesses themselves to do maybe even a recapture, whatever the case may be. So we're kind of on a little bit of a standstill on what's going on until we get our utilities going, but we should be finalizing a lot of that stuff by the end of the year. So hopefully we can see some serious construction within the next 12 months, 16 months, 18 months. So that's really it.
Brian, anything?
Nothing really, except that I'm thrilled that Jessica's here now. That's great. Look forward to great things in the city of Woodstock, and we'll see how things go.
Larry?
No, the county's just here. Nothing has been built on Route 14 down that little line in the middle.
That extension or that expansion of 14 you were talking about, something like that?
Yeah, no, nothing's going on right now.
DeLong Car Wash, that's under construction now. Our engineer was surprised yesterday to see it under construction when he drove by because he hasn't approved it yet. Got a hand smack there a little bit. We got a Starbucks coming, they just put up their construction fencing, still working through engineering on that. Our Dunkin' Donuts is almost done. I'm trying to think they did apply through you guys, right? Yeah. They're almost done, it's the longest project ever for Dunkin' Donuts, I think. We just started talking to a manufacturer from Colorado. Go Bears. So they're
I'm
looking
born and raised Bears fan.
You what?
I'm a born and raised Bears fan, so my mom's from Peoria.
All right, that's a good Friday. 20 to 40 employees relocating to our Arrowhead Industrial Park. So we've asked them several questions just so we can put together an incentive package for them. That's looking up. U.S. Medical Glove, we're looking to create a TIF district for them. They hired the consultant. We're getting ready to go into approval stage for joint review board meetings and whatnot. That should be wrapped up by the end of the year. But they've got several projects that they want to complete and receive TIF incentives for. One of the big projects they're working on now, they don't have enough power from ComEd. ComEd took out all the infrastructure when Motorola left. So they're spending millions of dollars on these huge generator units being powered by natural gas. So it's going to be a temporary fix, but we'll get them up to all the lines that they need running to continue with the glove orders that they have. And
Downtown TIF, something too.
Hired Tesca Associates to create a downtown TIF district. They're doing their work, or have been doing their field work over the last couple of weeks, but that just has its eye on some properties that we'd like to redevelop and that some developers have shown interest in, so that should spur some things in the downtown. And that should be wrapped up by the end of the year, beginning of next year. And then residential, got 30 new homes this year, which is the most Harvard has seen in decades. We had 17 last year, which is the most Harvard has seen in decades. So for a staff of 2, we're cruising and having a lot of fun doing it.
One reason I asked is because we did our last too. We got a huge pushback from a lot of our other taxing bodies. You guys getting anything from the schools or anything?
Nothing so far, but we have a joint tax review board, or TIF review board coming up. We'll find out then.
What was the end result on the turn lane for Starbucks there on Altenburg Road, or McGuire Road?
McGuire Road, they took it out.
So they're not gonna have to do it? And that's why they're going
Done.
forward?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It said once Popeyes fell off and it was just Starbucks, the numbers weren't working anymore to have that turn lane in there and stuff, so they took it out. I feel like if there's a second user coming in, they're going to want to put it back in. It doesn't make sense to me that they took it out.
There'll be room to do it? I mean, you
Not with
don't
the way
have
they got-
Starbucks crowding the corner or something, do
They're
you?
gonna have to move their detention now, the way they have it designed, if they want to do it, or build a bridge. Yeah.
Time will tell.
Yes, sir.
Mark, you got anything?
I really don't.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Worries.
That's all I've got. Administrator's report.
Yeah, so first we have a status update on the unemployment fraud issue. We have placed 4 calls to them in the past 2.5 weeks. It's essentially been people who either don't know or have just wanted to pass me off to somebody else. So I sought, I sought the advice of a MCEDC board member with experience with this, who said that you usually do not hear anything back. We sent a letter of protest months ago. We have not received any other attempts to collect on what they had initially claimed that we owed them. So these things, as far as I'm told, tend to just kind of fall off and disappear, and don't have to worry about it. So if anything else ever comes up with it, obviously, I will let you guys know, and we will take the proper course of action for that. Then as far as project updates, we've talked, a little bit about the DeLong Car Wash, which is at 317 South Division Street. We are only expecting 1 full-time equivalent job at the moment. Their building material expenditures were at about $1.84 million, and we are collecting $9,235 worth of project fees from this project. We had finished the work that we needed to do to get them their BMEC forms last Thursday, and they said that the check was going to be sent in the mail that night. Haven't received it yet, but we already know that it's on the way. Next we have Greenway Storage, which is at 1440 North Division Street. That's 2 full-time equivalent jobs. Their building material expenditures were at $400,000, and we collected obviously the $2,000 in fees from them already. And then in Woodstock, we do have an additional question that comes up with the Woodstock car loss, as this is Liberator Auto Works. This is the same people. So if we want to, and they've paid their $275 fee on this, but if they didn't, pay on the earlier project that was listed under that name, that's, it's something we can pursue with them. I would accept any sort of guidance as to how we want to approach that. But as far as, the properties that they listed that were already under their control, the county GIS system, Athena, lists Liberator Auto Works as the owner of the property. So that is a small project. There's no full-time equivalent jobs. This is just next door to what was formerly Herrera Auto Repair in Woodstock. So, it's kind of up in the air with them. This is a project that the owner who started the project himself is actually doing the work himself and trying to spend as little money as he possibly can to, rehab the place next door to what they already have, so. Other than that, just our totals for this is, 3 full-time equivalent jobs created, obviously not including the current construction jobs, building material expenditures at $2.3 million, and total fee collection when the DeLong check comes in of $11,510 on those 3 projects. which actually I think, if you look at the budget, gets us very close to our anticipated project fees.
And just another note, great job to James on the long car wash one. They had to do a lot of mathematics on that, so he did a great job figuring it all out.
It was rough.
Do we have a date for our October meeting? Oh, first off, any other questions for James? When is our October meeting? 18th? So unless you guys want to hear jokes and stories from me, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I want to hear the jokes and stories.
Oh, we already got a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? All right.